What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It is your main man, Juggernaut of Multi-Platinum Production Team.
Arkatech Beatz.
Welcome to the music review. You know what I'm saying? We're doing music reviews tonight. Let me just switch this banner out really quickly. We're doing the music reviews. Let's get that, Let's get that out here real quick. You know what I'm saying? Our music review banner out here real quick. Let's get that done. Shout out to everybody that's jumping into the live. This is your first time here. Just make sure that you like, commenting, and subscribing. Like, commenting, and subscribing, of course. Like I said, I'm Multi-Platinum Production Team, Arkatech Beatz. Shout out to my partner, Mike Trauma D, and we are just trying to get together here, trying to do some music reviews tonight. If you don't know about us, our claim to fame is the, Big Pun Nas, Prodigy of Mobb Deep, so many other artists. We just trying to do what we do, and let me do what we do, how we get it done. Appreciate you, brother, for tapping in, man. We about to try to get into this. We're going to be on for maybe a little bit, like an hour, give or take, because I do want to get into our, I do want to cook up tonight and do a music production tutorial a little bit later. So I'm going to do a little bit of time now and then try to jump in on the other situation. Just jump in by submitting to the link on the screen. I'm going to put the Nero link up, and you should be able to see that now. That link is up on the screen. You should be able to see that over my head. Should be on my face right now. I'm going to move it if my Streamlabs does what I want it to do and stop acting like I don't exist. And we're just going to wait for some folks to jump into the live stream, try to get this thing moving a little bit. We're just getting started. I wanted to start a little bit earlier. I just had some technical difficulties. The plan is to try to get on by 8 o'clock. That's the plan. And, try to maintain that cadence as we move forward with this thing. But like I said, if it's your first time here, man, we are multi-platinum producers, Big Pun Nas, Prodigy of Mobb Deep. Rest in peace. The Game, Jada Kiss, Raekwon the Chef. I got records with Master Killer, RZA, French Montana, Max B, $1 Million Baby 4 coming out very, very soon. Coke Wave out right now. You can check out our latest record on Coke Wave 3.5 called Me Too, featuring French Montana and Max B. So, we are here. We are doing it. We are in the mix, real time, getting it really done. Shout out to you, brother. Chocolate Boy, what up, man? For my folks that are in the Future Producer Society, new post up. You know what I'm saying? New post. Just put a new post up in regards to songwriter split sheets for those who are not really familiar with the songwriter split sheets and the importance of that. And before we jump into the review a little bit later, we're gonna jump into these music reviews. But for those who are trying to learn the music business, make sure you're jumping into our Future Producer Society. And that's howschool.com/Future Producer Society for people who are looking to learn the music business. It is going to be taught by yours truly. I have 20 years plus in this music game. Like I said, I work with the best of the best. Had a production deal with Loud Records, publishing deal. We've been brand ambassadors for places like Splice, Song Trust. You name it, we've done it. So we're definitely doing what we're doing. You know what I mean? And we're making it work. For those who are, again, we're listening for beats and songs tonight. So submit music. You know, if you got beats, that's cool. If you got full songs, that too. You know, we're looking for some dope artists, some dope producers. You know, there are a lot of things that are happening in the business this year and different projects that's coming on. Oh yeah, it's not too many posts, bro. I just did one today. That's, you know, again, about the songwriter split sheets, and I think what's important for it and for people to understand about it is, like, say for example, right now we got a bunch of records that, you know, are about to come out, and basically if you don't basically register these songs, or if you don't understand the splits, you're not gonna get paid, man. So I want to really highlight that as a real case scenario, as a real case study, right? Because we got records that are out right now, and what happens is that basically it's a rush to register, right? So normally the first people that get to register the songs, theirs become the gold standard, right? So when you go to ASCAP or you go to these places and you start registering your song, if say a song comes out tomorrow, say you got a song with Jay-Z and it comes out tomorrow, and you registered it before it came out, right? Because you already know the song was coming out. You registered it first. Song comes out. Song starts to generate. Then Jay-Z's people comes behind you and registers the song too. Typically, what's going to happen is that the societies are going to default to the people who register it first. As if the song starts to earn any money, then in order for you to change that registration, you're going to have to submit documentation to prove that you have ownership or a stake in the song. And this is where the songwriter split sheets start to come in. And if you don't have those, you can't make changes. Or if what happens in some cases is that you'll find that the people that you did the record with are not being honest in terms of the splits. All of a sudden the splits change. Your contract says one thing, and then when they go to when they go to register it, they register it with you with 10% less or something like that. And sometimes they call that the artist tax, right? Meaning the artist is creating the opportunity for you, so there's a tax on you. You know what I'm saying? Because they're creating the publishing income, so there's a tax on you that some people don't want to talk about. But, you know, that's real stuff. If you do a Beyonce record, she's going to take more. You know, you're not going to get what you think you're going to get, or if you do something like that, depending on how big the artist is, right? You might negotiate a certain thing, and then at the end of the day, they might be like, nah, we need a little bit more. And that happens, right? So you can push up against the system, but then you ruin your relationship, and then you can't get more music out. And the key here is to get more music out, because if the music doesn't get out, you can't generate any income, right? So that's the main thing. Music on your hard drive does not generate income, people. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Music on your hard drive does not create income. You got to get this music out. It has to be published. It has to be consumed. It has to be listened to. It has to be heard. And I'm creating the platform for people to make sure they can get themselves heard, make sure people can know exactly what to do to get their stuff out. So for those producers and those folks who, you know, are trying to understand this music business, I'm here to show you what it is. You know what I'm saying? What I'm talking is not hyperbole. It's not cap. You know, you can go check all my you can check everything you need to go check. You can go check my LinkedIn, everything you want to go check to make sure that I'm legit. It's 100% legit. You can check my Spotify, everything. Not well, Spotify's terrible, but the you know, my credits on the on these artist stuff. You know what I mean? I hate Spotify, to be honest with you. That they really do some real shiesty stuff to artists. You know, we don't really push Spotify at all. But in any other event, we're about to jump in. I'm waiting for some more folks to jump into the live. I'm gonna play some music, and then once we get started, in another maybe 5 minutes, we get it started. The independent grind is terrible, man. You know, it's hard doing this thing as an independent person if you're not connected to a machine. It's very difficult to kind of, you know, get the things that you think you want to get out of this. You know, and you're gonna need help.
Get the hottest beats.
Yeah, you're gonna need help with this, man. You know what I mean? It's not something that I recommend independent artists do on their own.
Get the hottest beats at ArkatechBeatz.com.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to JQX. He had submitted something yesterday that I really liked.
Producers, Arkatech Beatz
Shout out to y'all guys that's jumping in. Let's start listening to these joints, because we don't have all night to do it. Let me start listening to this. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what we got. Let me see my folks on TikTok. Kaz, what's happening, man? Make sure y'all liking the live, sharing the live. Don, what's popping, man? What's happening with y'all? Hope everything is good with y'all on y'all side. Appreciate y'all. Got more things coming in. More things happening. $1 Million Baby 4 Max B coming soon. It's a phenomenal record, man. It's really good. It's really good. We did a lot of work on this. We listened to this yesterday, Clint View. We'll get into this joint right here called Sympath. It's called Mostsphere Music. It's just a beat. He said he did it on his SP404. I always like that machine. I like the way it looks. I always see people using it, but I never really got a chance to jump into that. That's one of those hardware that I never got a chance to jump into it. And I wanted to get something small like that I could, practice on with my kids. I always want something that I can just hit at the kitchen table with them real quick and do something like that. But let's take a listen to this joint. Oh, my bad. I named him. His name is Atmosphere. Yo, I didn't even catch that. Yo, bro, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I didn't really catch it as saying Atmosphere, bro. Appreciate you, man. Boy Swagger, thank you for that. Putting new people onto what we're doing, man. Let's get these likes up like my man is saying. Let's tap that screen. This is Atmosphere, man. And he got this one spell, Sympathy, man. Yo, I didn't catch it, man. Listen. Sometimes the brain just be moving a certain type of way, you know what I'm saying?
Alright, so that. Atmosphere.
That joint knocking for real. It knocking. I ain't gonna hold you. That joint knocking. Listen, on my side it's overloading. Like, so already it's overloading. You gotta make sure your joint is. You want it to be hot, but you don't want it to be that hot, man, to this point where it's like at distortion. You got to realize that a lot of these engineers that's working with a lot of these artists aren't as good as they used to be. So they don't know how to handle this type of stuff when you put this stuff that's coming into it too hot. Pause. My issue here with this is there's some changes that occur. So the beat tends to, goes through different chambers of changing, which is kind of like what we used to do as producers to try to highlight a certain level of programming skill. In this, and for placing your songs with artists, we want to avoid that. Like, I've been talking about that for a lot, man. That's really, I preach that the most. It's really just creating a song structure as a producer or beat maker. Like, you have to have the song structure if you want your beat to get sold. Because right here, what happens is there's a lot of confusion as to where the rapper should rap and where the hook should go. Like, I can't tell. I don't know where the hook should go. I don't know where the rap should be, because the beat is breaking down. The beat is doing different things, so it creates a certain level of confusion for the listener. And even though, like, what's getting us through it is because it's knocking, right? So it has the right sounds, it has the right sample, the bass is bouncing, it's doing what it's supposed to do. We just have to determine, I need this 8 to 12 bars to loop, somewhere in this song, right? So we need this hook we need a 8 bars that's going to be determined as the hook that comes up every 8 to 12 bars, and then I got to have that verse that comes up after every hook at every 8 bars. You know what I'm saying? Every 8 to 12 bars. We have to figure out where the hook is going to be and where the artist is going to be. And wherever the artist is going to be, that needs to remain the same for at least 2 times, right? So for the first verse and the second verse, that has to remain the same. We have to have that 8 to 12. If we don't have that 8 to 12, it's going to create a situation where the listener cannot determine where they're going to rap, and what you're going to get is you're going to get a skip. Skip. And in producer terms, you don't want your song to get skipped. You know what I mean? But the reason why a lot of songs get skipped is because we don't create the appropriate picture for letting them know where they need to rap. What we're trying to do is we're trying to highlight how good we are in terms of programming and production, and they don't care about that. We care about that as producers, but those folks, they don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? They just don't care about it. And we have to make that conscious decision to make that switch. You know what I'm saying? This is the difference between you being, this is the difference between you getting your music placed, man, and your music just rocking in your car, bro. This is the difference. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people may say it's your style, but we have to create songs. You know what I'm saying? Or else we're going to be relegated to just doing instrumental beat CDs or instrumental beat albums, which is fine once you have an established name. You know what I'm saying? When your name isn't really established and you're trying to get it established, it's like you got to create a situation where people can rap on these things, man. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's really the fastest form of promotion. Even if we're selling it to a bunch of no-name artists. Let's say, for example, this beat was popping and all we was able to do was sell it to no-name artists on BeatStars over and over again. That's a promotional tool. That'll help to grow your audience over time, right? But we have to get to the place where they want to be able to rap on it. So we got to get it to that. But outside of that joint knocking, it's getting my star of approval. You can see me starring it on my in my backside. Excuse me, my back panel. Pause. The back panel is basically gonna, the stuff that I favorite, I can always come back and then I'll have the contact information for folks that I need to reach out to or follow. Make sure you're putting in your socials. Make sure you're putting in your email address if you're submitting, and make sure you put in your best music forward, because that's what we're trying to do. Like I said, we're on here for limited time on the nighttime, so I can get through what I can get through. Of course, priority skip folks, will get prioritized in this type of scenario. So, don't get skipped in the line, man. That's all I can say. Shout out to everybody that's jumping into the live. And you know, after this particular review stream, we will be going into a music production cook-up, and I got something in here. That I think may turn into a monster. We gotta wait and see. I'm not sure, but you know, I heard it. I said, man, I gotta try it. So we're gonna do that after. So once we end this stream, I'm gonna wind up just coming back on, pause, and then, you know, we'll do the normal cook up. You know, our boy Swag and these guys. If it's not too late for you guys, I know you guys got young kids and stuff like that. When we get into it, we get to make it happen. Let me see what's going on my TikTok side. I can't see my TikTok screen because for whatever reason, it's not pushing on the other side. Sean the Don, what's up, man? The Don Ace, what's going on, man? I'm going to try to jump into this next record. It's called Stressing a Lot Lately. Hollow Wallow. It says Fresh Home. Off of 2 life sentences overturned. What? That's a Max B type situation, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't heard nothing like that. We're about to jump into that in a second. Man, if I can only, you know, it's such a blessing to have the grandparents to help with the kids, man. I miss that, man. I miss my dad and my mom taking care of my kids, man. I miss that, man. For those who got their parents, man, you blessed, man. I'm telling you. I miss that, man. Let's see what this joint sound like.
Yeah. Like when I see that. You already know that. Hello, come here, Rilo. About to get this. Hello, come here, Rilo. Hello, come here, Rilo. That's Splash 2600.
I ain't finna tell you how I got away with
Been
this shit.
stressing a lot lately, ain't had my shot lately. Been scratching my crotch lately, been fucking that thought lately. I be feeding off the competition, ain't dropped nothing hot lately. Heard the ops working with the cops, they been rushing my spot lately. Been stressing a lot lately, ain't had my shot lately. Been scratching my crotch lately, been fucking that thought lately. I be feeding off the competition, ain't dropped nothing hot lately. Heard the ops working with the cops, they been rushing my spot lately. Back in my act again, African American, I see them red flags again. She just want a bag again, she left me for dead in the pen. Now I'm home, she a fan again. Put that work in that pan again, but I'll never hand a hand again. Louis down like a man again, bitch know that I'm the man again. Don't fuck with losers, so I'm playing to win. I ain't scared to shoot, I ain't scared like Ben. 5% behind 10 again, they all got me on their cameras again. Posting me on their gram again, on my YouTube channels again. Coming through, you better bring a friend. Chanel snitching on my size is 10. I bust their ass and I'm back to the gym. Fuck being big, I'm comfortable slim. I never told I stand on 10. I never fold, man, freedom men. Killing rats, you see them then. Those niggas fighting for their freedom again. You never know if you'll meet them again. You never know if you'll see them again. You know they do to my people with skin. You cap it, dog, don't believe you then. They deceive you then. I know your type, you're easy been. Where I'm from, they'll leave you then. You ain't for the cause, they don't need you. Been stressing a lot lately, ain't had my shot lately. Been scratching my crotch lately, been fucking that thought lately. I be feeding off the competition, ain't dropped nothing hot lately. Heard the ops working with the cops, they been rushing my spot lately. Been stressing a lot lately, ain't had my shot lately. Been scratching my crotch lately, been fucking that thought lately. I be feeding off the competition, ain't dropped nothing hot lately. Heard the ops working with the cops, they been rushing my spot lately. Hold up, she telling me to slow up. Bitch, you better be lucky that I showed up. This that type of music make you throw up. Had a fast childhood, had to grow up. My mother always said I was gonna blow up. They like me with my locks, but they love me with my low cuts. I fuck her from the back, then I switch and put her toes up. Bitch, I'm from Philly, I can never put my pole up. Niggas catch you while you slipping, he gon' lift your fucking soul up. I can tell the way you looking, you don't know us. Parole don't even wanna parole us. And how my side detectives riding around with our pictures in their folders, cause we did so much dirt to the shoulders, show enough. I be trying to school my oldest and teach them what the old has never told us. All that ride or die shit sound good when you drilling with the homies, but them same motherfuckers never rode us. Been stressing a lot lately, ain't had my my shot lately. Been scratching my crotch lately. Been fucking that thought lately. I be feeding off the competition. Ain't dropped nothing hot lately. Heard the ops working with the cops. They been rushing my spot lately. Been stressing a lot lately. Ain't had my shot lately. Been scratching my crotch lately. Been fucking that thought lately. I be feeding off the competition. Ain't dropped nothing hot lately. Heard the ops working with the cops. They been rushing my spot lately.
Yo, that's Hollow Rollo, man. Stressing a lot lately. What y'all think? What y'all think, man? 'Cause I think that one's tough. Shout out to everybody that's jumping into the live. I think that's a tough record. You know what I'm saying? It has all of the right elements, and you've seen the video. You know what I'm saying? His video is right there. His video is doing exactly what it has to do. It has the production value that it needs to have. It has the look that it needs to have, and it looks like it's getting a little motion. It got a little bit of views on it. But from what I saw, it was about 18,000. Was I looking at that right, or did I miss something? Let me make sure. That's 10K. 10K. It's doing this thing. Let me just drop my like on that real quick. Let me make sure I hit this with the star, because this is definitely something that it got the right sound. He got the right voice. You know what I'm saying? He got the right voice. He got the right it's the right voice right now. It's the right pace. It's the right cadence. You know what I mean? Now, granted, I have to hear some more, right? Meaning because this is on a trap joint, and he's from Philly. You know what I mean? Which is cool. I need to just see, how the rest of this stuff is gonna sound coming from out of his catalog, because, this is the thing that the Northeast artists are being tasked with. They're being tasked with, using the tracks that typically are not. He said he means what he say. I believe it. The Northeast artists are being tasked with a lot of the trying to find what their sound is going to be, right? Because if you're from up top and you're playing this down south, then it's like, you're trying to fit into their box, and right now their box is closed. I don't know if you guys are noticing that, like their box down south is pretty much closed. You know what I mean? So, we definitely have to make sure that we're listening to make sure that we're revamping our sound, to make sure that our sound is going to be more representative of where we're from. You know what I mean? Because I think that trend of it sounding from the South, or having the trap vibe, I think it's on its way out. No more stimulus packages, man. So yeah, that hook jumping though. That hook is definitely popping. It's doing what it needs to do. You know what I'm saying? Alliance, who produced it? Just so that I'm clear. Drop that into the comment. Who produced it? For producers that are joining, make sure y'all jumping into the tapping into the live. Make sure y'all tapping into our Future Producer Society. We put the link on the screen for the producers that are trying to jump into this game. We're trying to build with some producers, get some producers up to speed, learn the music business, etc., etc. NPC Masterclass coming soon. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do one before getting a new MPC, but I thought about it. I said, normally when the new MPC for a lot of people is going to be out of their price range, because it's close to $3,000. So a lot of people are going to wind up copping the SE, because now the prices drop, because the SE price is like a little under 17, 16. So you'll see a lot of people that's going to pick up this MPC and then just put the new software on it and then make it run. And so I said, I was thinking about it. I said, let me still do what I was going to do, which was going to be the masterclass for the SE, and then as I upgrade, which will probably be like another month or so, I'm just waiting to make sure all the bugs is out. Then once I get the new machine, then do a upgrade, not an upgrade, but do a separate master class on that. I gave it to you when you came home. You don't know who produced it. Nah, this joint jumping, man. For those who are just getting into the live, this was Hollow Rallo. This joint was called Stressing a Lot Lately. Yeah, the bars was decent. You know what I'm saying? The bars was definitely decent. It wasn't like we wasn't asking them to do too much in terms of the bars. You know what I'm saying? This is really just regular bars, so being honest. You know what I mean? Just keeping the song moving, you know what I mean? And I think that's necessary in this kind of day and age, to just kind of keep bars that are subject oriented. So, it is what it is. Shout out to everybody jumping into the live stream. We're going to try to jump into this next joint in a hot second. That was Hollow Rallo though, man. That was dope. Yeah, that was definitely dope, man. Make sure y'all are jumping into the live stream, man. Make sure y'all are submitting tracks, man. Before we get into the next track, make sure y'all are submitting to the link on the screen. I'm going to be on here for maybe another 25 minutes, give or take. A little over. What we got? We had a total of almost 75 submissions. So make sure that you're prioritizing yourself so that you can get heard quicker.
Arkatech Beatz.
Make sure y'all tapping the screen. The joke that I was telling everybody about that beat. I was telling everybody that beat was old. And I just posted the interview with Max telling y'all like, yo, some of them beats is like they're a certain age. And I was trying to tell folks like, yo, if you make your joint, if you following what we trying to tell you to follow, if you're getting your ear good, you're not making what we will call music that's trendy. You will make music that's going to be able to last. You know what I'm saying? So you're not going to be in a situation where if you submitting your music to an artist, this month, by 6 months from now, you can't submit it to nobody because nobody, rapping on that type of music anymore. Oh yeah, we dropping it, man. We gonna drop everything inside of the Future Producer Society. If you're not into that, make sure y'all in that school, in that Future Producer Society. We put a lot of, it's free to join. We put a lot of free content up, a lot of stuff for folks to be able to learn. You know, we're trying to get folks to learn this business. You know, that's really my number one priority in this, is to make sure that I have educated musicians, man, musicians that understand like this business. Now, granted, you know, there are things that it's nuanced, you know, so that not everything is cut and dry. So my goal is to create the platform, give you the structure of it, and then now bring the nuance to it. So Chocolate Boy Swagger's asking, what's the ideal industry bars for a hook? It's 8 bars. 4-bar hooks are like, those are not considered hooks. You know what I mean? Most times folks would take a 4-bar hook and then they would just repeat it twice to make it 8, right? But you're still gonna, the standard is 8 bars. It has remained 8 bars. It has been 8 bars since you listened to Thriller. Since you listened to Off the Wall, it has been 8 bars. It has remained as 8 bars. You don't find anything that's longer. If anything, you just may find people that may chant things in 2 or 4 bar stanzas, right? So you may have something that somebody might say something for 2 bars and repeat it 4 times, but it's still going to quantify as 8. This is total. Next up is going to be Tony Vinyl's, a song called Batman. Is that a beat or is that just a beat? Is that a song or is that a beat? I'm not sure. This is a beat, right? It's called Batman by Tony Vinyl's. I don't know if Tony Vinyl's is in the building. Make sure that we're liking the live. Make sure we're sharing the live with anybody who may be looking to submit music, looking at anybody who may be an artist that's aspiring, anybody who is like trying to get into this music space, trying to understand what to do, not knowing what to do, and then also, you know, being able to submit for, you know, a new project. You know, we're doing what we do. We're trying to do a new project and trying to see who we can get, see if we can partner and collab with some good artists and some good producers. So we're trying to see how it's going to work. Pardon me, excuse me. Been burning that midnight oil, boy. They've been crazy. Let me see what my TikTok folks are saying over here, because, you know, I got it on like multiple screens. Yeah, man, Kaz, like, you know, part of the live too was for me to try to see if I could document it, man. Like, can I document? There's another beat that I got. There's another beat that I did. that got we got chains on that. So, I gotta find that, and then when it comes out, you know, I'm gonna do the same thing. Like, yo, we started with this, and then we turn it into that. You know what I mean? Just to let people understand, like, listen, there is progress, man. Things can happen, and they happen very quickly. You know what I mean? 'Cause a lot of this stuff is, you know, 6 months old at best. You know what I mean? A lot of these beats are 6 months at least. That, you know what I mean? Normally, it take a little bit longer to drop something, to make something go. But let's listen to this joint by Tony Vinyl's called Batman. Let's hear it. Let's see where it do. He could have added those elements to make the hook. You know what I'm saying? All that he put at the end. Shout out to Tony Vinyls. Yo, that was a, decent little groove. I think that you might need a few more elements to make it cohesive. I feel like, you could probably needed to get a bass in there somewhere and probably one more sound so that we can have something that lines up on the hook. The hook is too short. You see, it only went for 4. You know what I'm saying? What you're going to wind up doing when you make beats like that is you wind up making those songs that a rapper gets on and never leaves a hook. They just rap all the way through. That's what you're going to do. That's what you're setting yourself up for. If you don't structure the song the way you're supposed to structure the song, then when the artists hear it, they just going to rap, right? If they don't pick it, and the ones that do pick it, they just going to rap. They're not going to put no hook, right? So let me tell you what happens when you get a song that people rap through and you don't get no hook. And just follow me with this real quick for those who are part of my Future Producer Society. You can understand where I'm going with this. You make a beat. The beat doesn't have any breaks in it per se. That's for a hook or something like that. So the artist hears it. They say, yo, I'm going to go on a rhyme fest. They go on a rhyme fest. Cool. Yo, he killed it with the bars. He killed it with the bars. That song never becomes a single. If a song don't have a hook, it never becomes a single. Like, that's how important it is. It never becomes the single if you don't have a hook. Once you don't have a hook, you're automatically disqualified as being a single that any label's gonna put any money behind. Point blank, period. Right? So if you're not a single, you limit your earning potential, right? You're gonna be relegated to being an album cut. All right, cool. You're an album cut, right? But album cuts, because there's no physical media, you can't get the benefit of a hit single, right? So say, for example, we got a record that's on Coke Wave 3.5 is Me Too. But what's the lead single? The lead single is Ever Since You Left Me, right? Do anybody need to buy an entire Coke Wave album to listen to Ever Since You Left Me? No, they can listen to that directly on one song, right? So you no longer get the benefit of being a Killing Me Softly on a Fuji's The Score, right? For a record that wasn't released as a single. We see how that's how they sold the album. They put the single, they put the Killing Me Softly out, but never put a single out. You only can get the song by buying the whole physical album. That's how they sold the 5 million, right? And then now you as a producer, remember, everything is prorated, meaning you're going to get a portion of how many songs are on the album. So if it's 12 songs, the royalty rate is divided by 12 because 12 songs on the album. So you got the benefit of it selling 5 million because they never released a single for Killing Me Softly. So if they had released a single for Killing Me Softly, right, then you would have never have gotten the score to do that 5 million copies. The single would have did the 5 million, not the whole album, even though the album is phenomenal. You see what I mean? So going back to the track. So the track is basically relegated to guys just rapping. And that's what you're creating. You're creating that situation where your record can't stand out. And then you create a situation where you can never be selected as a single. I have another scenario when we were doing Raekwon's Immobilarity, and they were trying to choose a single, right? What's the first single? The single is Live from New York, right? Live from New York. Well, why did they choose Live from New York? You know what I'm saying? Well, why did they choose Live from New York, right? Well, when your man was recording the album, this was one of the few songs that had a cohesive hook. That's a fact. You know what I mean? It's free to submit, but it's 25 to skip the line, right? So the reality of the situation is that when we're doing these songs, you know what I'm saying? If we didn't have the hook, then Live from New York wouldn't be the single. You know what I mean? So that's why I be preaching hook, because that's my experience. If it didn't have it, it wouldn't have made the single. You know what I'm saying? And we're not talking about no hook with, like, you you got, no scratching hook or no samples in the middle of the hook. Like, you want to make sure that there's a hook that people can chant, people can repeat, and can sing or whatever. You know what I mean? So shout out to Tony Vinyls on this. Again, I think this would have probably benefited. I like the sounds that you use. I like the sample that you use. That's the old school Batman. That's the old school Batman sample. For those who are up in age, y'all know what that means to you, right? You watched that as a kid, whatever. You growing up, watching that '60s Batman, whatever. Just in my opinion, it feels like it needs a low end to me. So baseline would have probably did good if you could have found one 808 maybe, if you didn't want to do a baseline. Then one more sound to differentiate the hook, and then when we're doing the Batman, you got to make it go, instead of going those 4 bars, you got to make it go 8. But the rate that you get it to go from 4 to 8, you got to add 1 or 2 more sounds to carry it over. But that's my 2 cents. We're gonna carry on. We're gonna be on for a little bit. Just make sure y'all are submitting. Any priorities that want to skip the line, make sure y'all handle that.
Get the hottest beats at arkatechbeatz.com.
Arkatech Beatz.
Get the hottest beats at arkatechbeatz.com. Get the hottest beats at arkatechbeatz.com.
Arkatech Beatz.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody that's jumping into the live. Shout out to everybody that's jumping into live. We have been live now for 49 minutes. And we're doing music reviews. And yours truly, juggernaut of multi-platinum production team, Arkatech Beatz. Shout out to my production partner and family member and cousin / brother, Mike Trauma D. We're going to jump into this next track. It's called Generational Curses by TTH. I don't know what that what that acronym is. So you have to hit me up in the chat to let me know what that might be or what that might sound like. Whoa. I may have time for one more record after this one, so if you're gonna submit to skip the line, now is the time.
It's real life. I ain't afraid to tell my story. What about you? Yeah. Yeah. La.
While I was in the streets, Pops was on the other side, sliding on the freak. Now that I'm grown and I got problems of my own, I gotta do the best I can to make sure that ain't me. And I look at my sisters and see what they going through. Then I glance at my daughter and see my sister's at 2. See my sister's at 3. Hopefully I see 4. A lot of niggas in their yard, they won't see this to 24. And I'm crying while I write this. Pops a better man now, he the one who helped me fight this. When it's dark, he be the light switch. He told me be better than him. He got regrets, he went crazy in this mess. We the residual effects. His father was a deadbeat, that's why he gripped the tech. Sleeping on the park bench instead of a bed. I really can't believe they left my nigga homeless. And I'm mad at him because they left us in a house that's lonely. But ain't no problem, better. We both didn't feel love. Around 19, 20, we had our first real hug. He told me he was proud that I ain't choose to be a thug. Cause everybody thought that I would end up in them cuffs. I used to take about 7 to 8 blunts to the face, so I wouldn't take a 9 and put 10 up in the face. First time I fell in love, I was so easily replaced. Finna was the side nigga, and I thought I was the man. Luckily, I felt my queen and she still with me to this day. She know how to be a lady and also put on that lace. She know how to make me smile, she know how to make a plate. She got me wrapped around her finger, she know how to put my strings. She a woman that feel God, so she always pray. It's a cool, I'm Metallica, cause I ain't worried about a thing. But it break my heart every single time I sing you string. When you try to change the channel or you try to read a page. Giving birth to our daughter left your vision damaged. Rip my eyes up out them sockets and you wouldn't need them glasses. Without them surgeries, I already checked the status. But my retinas, they have seen too much havoc. For better or worse, yes I am gonna be the best I can. And one of them days, I'ma put you on the best island and have your feet all in that wet sand. I'm proud to be your man. Yeah. One thing about generational curses is somebody gotta break them. See, a lot of times, you the one who see that it's a problem. That's how you know you the one that's called to break it. Same cycle over and over and over again. What we gonna do about it? Yeah. La.
Yeah, that joint go hard. This joint definitely is. This joint is. No one in the world's gonna hold me. No one in the world can move me. No one in the world can love me like you do.
It's real life.
Every time I'm with someone,
I ain't afraid to tell my story. What about you? Yeah. Yeah. La. While I was in the streets, Pops was on the other side, sliding on the freak. Now that I'm grown and I got problems of my own, I gotta do the best I can to make sure that ain't me. And I look at my sisters and see what they going through. Then I glance at my daughter and see my sister sad too.
Yo, man. I like this record, but I'm tight. You know what I mean? I like this record. And I flagged this record. I've started. This is something that I want to. This is an artist that I want to do some research on. I want to, care more, because, like, first I think that beat is popping. Like, that's the first thing that I think it's a dope beat, right? My only slight issue with it might be is we should have got that sample vocal, separated it in the beat, and just brought it down slightly in the verse when he was rapping, so that it wasn't clashing with him. He has a dope vocal presence. He has a dope vocal delivery. He has a dope voice, right, for a rapper, right? And this is important for, these are like the trifecta of elements that y'all, voice, cadence, you know what I mean? Ride the beat almost perfectly. This is great situation. I need a hook. I need a hook, man. Like, without a hook, it's a one-time listen. Like that's it. If this song had a hook in it, right? Even if we say, yo, man, just grab it. Let's go to Suno. Let's get an AI, sing a hook. Let's get a hook on this thing to make this thing go. What? This thing could go to the moon, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we need a hook, man. Like, you know, like, we need hooks, man. We can't do that. Just, you know, rap the rap, man. We need a hook, man. We need to do that, man. Like, don't get me wrong. There will be songs that you could, you know, kind of just rap through it, and this might be one of those. But I feel like it could be so much stronger considering the content that it could be if it had a hook. I feel like it could go so much further. And boy, Swagger, if somebody uses a sample, man, don't matter if they use a sample or not, man. That's why it's called a sample. So people can, as many people can use it as possible, as long as it's made the best person win. You know what I'm saying? That's how it really worked. It's made the best person win, because just because you use it and I use it don't necessarily mean that, you know, if you use it and you go diamond and I use it and I only sell 100,000, then you win. You know what I'm saying? So don't let that deter you from actually, you know, using the sample if you think that, you know, you were gonna do something that's dope or better. You know what I mean? He said he had dreams of it. I guess it's turning into a slight nightmare. But go ahead, man. Go get it. Go jump into it. See what it do. But yeah, man. I like this joint, man. This joint is called Generational Curses. It's by TTH, which is Think the Highest. You know, so I already like that vibe. That's a dope vibe. I feel like this is the vibe where music. I feel like this is the vibe of music that can, you know, it lasts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it doesn't have a time limit. It's evergreen. You know, it's not trendy. It lasts. You know, because it's about real subject matter, real issues, real social issues, and, you know, trying to impact real change. And I always like that. You know what I mean? So that's why, you know, Nas is like my favorite, because, you know, it's just trying to make an impact. You know, music is supposed to be impactful, man. It's supposed to mark your maturity and your time in life and what you're going through. And, you know, you can always mark the song to the era of, or, you know, you could always mark the song to the era or the issue at the time that you had. You know what I mean? So, you know, you just kind of want to get some good music out there. But I'm about to wrap this session up, man. You know, that's gonna be it for me tonight on the review side. I'm gonna probably jump back on in another few minutes to, you know, take a few minutes in between and then jump back on, because I gotta cook something up. So something like that, how would you clear it? You would have to just, you know, once somebody picks it up, they'll go through the process of running it through what we call a sample clearance house, where they'll contact the label, they'll contact the publisher, they'll contact the songwriter, and then they'll tell you, you know, if you can use it or not, and if you can use it for how much. Sometimes what they'll do to you is they'll charge you an upfront fee. You know, like we had to deal with a cat. The joke was we used this dude. He was a new age artist, and we sampled him for Live from New York. He's actually the same artist that we sampled for Live from New York. Hey yo, you can't make this up. We sampled Live from New York from him. We sampled Jury from him, and we sampled The Table, and we sampled Kids in the PJs for Nas for him. So we did 3 Raekwon records and 1 Nas records with the same cat. And the cat, when Ray's album came out, Ray's album was basically top 10 Billboard, you know, because that's the same week that Dr. Dre came out with 2001, so there was nobody beating that, still D.R.E. So it is what it is. So Homeboy contacted us and was like, "Yo, you got a top 10 rap record, and you know, and yeah, I did. Just skip the line." So I said basically, he reached out to us. He was like, "Yo, I want to take you guys out to dinner, man. I want to meet you guys because you have basically took an obscure. He was an obscure new age artist, and what happened was he charged the label like $5,000. No, it was more than that. He charged the label maybe 20 stacks. You know what I mean? And they had to pay him that 20 stacks like for every 500,000 units that it moved. So they had to pay him that. Then he came in for 25% of the song, right? So he did all of that. You know what I'm saying? So he was ecstatic. So by the time so when we met him in downtown. We sat, we had dinner, we talked. He was like, "Yo, I got a studio out in Arizona. Y'all could come out. Y'all can sample my whole catalog." And like once we knew that he cleared samples, we was like, "All right, we're gonna keep doing it." So that's why we went back and we used him again for Nas, the Kids in the PJs. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like the artist's name was Chris Ferris. You know what I'm saying? So we had used him for Live from New York, Jury. We just used him, man. Like, you know what I mean? He cleared the samples. We kept using them. So the Great Dame, if you're going to put something in, now is the time because I'm about to wrap it up. But what was I going to say in a nutshell is that's the process of clearing sample, whether it's if it's a large level sample or not. It don't really matter. You still got to go through the process of doing it. And then, basically you got to wait and see if they're going to rape you. Pause for that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you're at their mercy. Once you start using their master recording, and if they own the composition and if the writers on that, then it puts you in a situation where you're at their mercy. So if he wanted to claim 100% of the song, he could have did that. He could have left us with no publishing on it at all. So, we got to be grateful that he did what he did and let us do what we did. You know what I mean? Yeah, for a sample. Yeah, for a sample. You don't see that there's some articles out there running around right now that the people who the Shaka Khan record for Through the Wire, that Kanye sample, they took 100% of the song. Like, I would have never let them take 100% of the song. Or after the song went platinum, after the album went platinum, I would have just pulled it off the album. I would have said, "Nah, we ain't gonna keep giving you 100% of a song." After I had to cut it up and had to remake a whole new song to it and everything. Like, that's just greed, you know what I'm saying? Because that song wasn't like Shaka Khan's biggest song. It wasn't doing numbers like that. You know what I mean? It's just people being greedy because they don't like rap music. You know what I mean? So you see that happen all the time, though. You bring a record back to life. Nobody would know who that artist was. You know how many people be looking for the artist that did the Why You Do That? No, I'm not familiar. Ask her what up, but I'm not familiar. But folks, I'm about to wrap this up for tonight. We're about to get up out of here. If you got any records that you're gonna submit, you can submit it, and we'll probably get into this tomorrow. Prioritize people we'll get to first.
Arkatech Beatz.
Whatever we're gonna listen to, we gotta get to it later. We'll be back on doing the live cook-up music production tutorial in a second. Yo, Dame. Thank you for hold on. Shout out to the great Dame. He just sent in a super chat. Appreciate you for sending in a super chat. You said you want to send something. Have you submitted it already, Dame? Use the link. Use the Nero link and submit it. Hold on one second. Hold on one second for me, brother. Yeah, use the Nero link there and submit it. If you haven't already, I'll give you a few minutes to do that before I jump off. I was about to jump off, so I'll hold the line for you just for a hot second.
Arkatech Beatz. Folks about to jump off. I appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all on the live stream for tomorrow. For music reviews. For those folks who are want to jump into my cook up, I'm gonna be back on in another few minutes to jump into a music production tutorial. So we'll do that tonight. Shout out to my folks, my future producer folks. Make sure y'all jump in. I got some new post up. And hey man, let's get active. Let's get busy. And I'll see y'all in a few.